Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Cult Movie Tuesdays right here on Night Owl Video. Today I'm talking about this movie, which is Woodlands, Dark and Days Bewitched. I knew I'd have to read that because it was a kind of mouthful there, but yeah, we'll be talking about this film today. Talk a bit about who's in it, production. And this won't be a long one because documentaries are a little different. There's not as much to say about production and stuff like that, but we'll get into it. So I hope you stick around. Thank you to everybody who subscribed recently. I'm at, as of the recording of this video, 490 subscribers, almost 500. So amazing. Thank you to everybody for your support and your comments and your likes and all that jazz. I really appreciate it. Today we're talking about Woodlands, Dark and Days Bewitched, a history of folk horror. This is a documentary from 2021 directed by Kier-La Janisse, who is a producer on many other shorts as well as some other documentaries. I have a feeling this might have been on Shudder for some reason. I think that's where I first saw it. I picked up this DVD last year, and it's an exhaustive documentary. This thing is 192 minutes long. So if you like folk horror, and you know, the obvious ones are like the old school, like Wicker Man, Witchfinder General, all those guys, and then to more modern stuff like Midsummer, The Witch, things like that. So this covers all that plus a whole bunch more. The synopsis for this film is a thorough overview and dissection of the subgenre of folk horror, with contributions from many of the major creators and clips from cinema all over the world. So this film stars Linda Hayden, who was in The Blood on Satan's Claw and Taste the Blood of Dracula. I think I think the Satan's Claw one was mentioned in this documentary. This also stars Ian Ogilvy, who was in Puppet Master 5, as well as Witchfinder General, which I mentioned a minute ago. And this also has Kevin Kolsch, who was the director of the new Pet Sematary from 2019. And he also had a segment in the really cool anthology film Holidays, which people don't really seem to ever talk about that movie, but that's kind of a cool, it was on Netflix. It's a horror anthology about different holidays. I don't remember which one was Kevin Kolsch, but the movie was great. This has a whole bunch of voices throughout it. I just picked a few off the list, but there's a whole bunch of people throughout this documentary talking about folk horror. I didn't get a definition of folk horror, but I mean, I think most people understand it to be like horror movies that delve into like folk tales and folk history and kind of pull some of that stuff out. It's been modernized, of course, like I said, in recent films like The Witch and Midsummer, but there's a long, rich history of folk horror films, and I'm fairly naive to the genre, if I'm being perfectly honest. Up until The Witch, I don't think I even ever heard that term before, but it's sort of like elevated horror. It's sort of become like sort of a catchphrase that people say a lot. So if you're looking to like figure out what folk horror is and or what it could be, then this documentary is so good. And there is a list, I think, on I don't know if it's on IMDb or somewhere like that, or Letterboxd, where you can actually get a whole list of all the movies that are mentioned in here. Because if you're like me, I sort of get nerdy and I want to like go back and check out some of these movies. So you can find the complete list if you're curious without watching this, but I highly recommend this movie. This was originally commissioned as a half-hour extra on the Blu-ray release of The Blood on Satan's Claw in 1971. It quickly ballooned into a 3-hour documentary that we see today. This is a Canadian filmmaker, Kier-La Janisse's directorial debut. Prior to this, she was best known for writing House of Psychotic Women, an autobiographical topography of female neurosis in horror and exploitation films, considered by many to be a key work in the study of female madness on screen. So yeah, I haven't seen that one. That is a mouthful. I guess that this person likes to come up with very long titles for their documentaries. I don't even know. I don't even know. I've talked to a few people about this, and I think most people just say, "Hey, remember that really long folk horror documentary? Yeah, that was really good." Don't think I've ever heard someone say, "Hey, have you seen Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched: A History of Folk Horror yet?" Because yeah, that's not hard to remember. Um, but yeah, this movie was really really good. Based on 50 reviewers, this film has 100% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So those who have seen this love this, and I have to be honest, I'm one of those people. Again, I don't know. I knew like Wicker Man, obviously, and things like that, but there's so much here to dig in on, and this goes right from those early British films like the 60s and 70s, and it goes all the way up to like Midsummer and The Witch and all that jazz, but it also includes a lot of international folk horror, which is interesting because that's something, probably a lot of these films just go under the radar. A lot of people don't even know that they exist. So this movie shines a light on a lot of those movies, and I think that's awesome. Again, I kind of want to print off the list of all the movies that are mentioned in here and just kind of backtrack and see if I can find some of them on streaming or physical media. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was only honestly familiar with like The Wicker Man, and uh, I mean, some people like I think in this documentary they do mention like Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow and things like that. So, uh, and then like more recently, of course, The Witch and Midsummer, which I think I'm mentioning too many times in this review, but those are the ones I was familiar with. So now going back and trying to find like Witchfinder General and things like that on streaming, you could spend probably months watching interesting folk horror films just by using this as kind of a guide to those films. So yeah, I really enjoyed this film. This is the Severin DVD from let's see if I can find a year on it, 2021, from Severin Films. The special feature is a video introduction by writer, director, producer Kier-La Janisse. RogerEbert.com says, absolutely breathtaking, a resplendent treasure of horror for horror lovers, sure to excite, inspire, and awe. And yeah, it does kind of inspire you to like dig deeper and find more of these films. So the back says it's been hailed as stunning by Diabolic Magazine, brilliant by AV Club, and mind-blowingly epic by Film Threat, and stands as perhaps the definitive genre documentary of our time. From writer, director, producer Kier-La Janisse comes a seductive megatext, that's a quote from IndieWire, through the history of folk horror featuring clips from over 200 films and interviews with more than 50 filmmakers, authors, and scholars that explore the rural roots, occult creeds, and cultural lore that continue to shape international cinema. Severin Films presents this astounding achievement, also featuring an original score by Jim Williams, who worked on something called A Field in England, animation by Ashley Thorpe, who did Borley Rectory, and collage sequences by Guy Madden, My Winnipeg, that Rue Morgue calls, quote, an unprecedented journey into where folk horror has been, where it's going, and ultimately what it says about humanity, unquote. Slash Film says a must-watch for film fans, filled with lush visuals and a myriad of perspectives. Kier-La Janisse chronicles humankind's most intriguing cinematic stories. This won a whole bunch of awards at South by Southwest Film Festival, Fantasia, the Nashville Film Festival, an official selection of the International Film Festival in Rotterdam, MIFF official selection. So yeah, this is amazing. This is Color from 2021, runtime 192 minutes. So this is one you want to like take your time and put on a pot of coffee and get your pen and paper out and make some notes about movies you should check out, because there's so many cool looking movies in this that makes you want to like go and do a deeper dive. Cool design work on the disc there from Severin. So yeah, I really like this movie. Like I said, it starts with the early stuff: Black Sabbath, Black Sunday, Blood on Satan's Claw, Wicker Man. It goes all the way up into modern stuff. Oh yeah, The Lighthouse is another one that was mentioned in there. So yeah, if you want to explore this genre and learn more about it, this is where you start. To me, anyway. I'm sure there's other books and movies about folk horror, but to me, this was so impressive. So, highly recommend checking this out. You can currently rent Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched: The History of Folk Horror on Google Play, Apple TV, excuse me, or Amazon Prime as of the recording of this video. So, go check it out if this is your jam. And even if you're not really into the folk horror stuff or you don't know what it is, here's a really cool place to start and learn more about it, because there's so much history in this. It's quite amazing. So that's my thoughts on this film, Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched: A History of Folk Horror. Let me know if you saw this movie in the comments below. Did you like it? Do you not care for folk horror? What's your thoughts on that? Love to hear from you. Consider giving me the thumbs up if you like this review. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I'm wearing my Black Sabbath shirt today. That was completely by chance that happened, but yeah. So go check this movie out. Super cool. What else can I say? Yeah, go check it out. Go check it out. So again, you can rent it on Google Play, Apple TV, or Amazon Prime. And I'm pretty sure this is still available on the Severin website if you want to order a copy for yourself. This is the DVD. I just grabbed it because there was no Blu-ray edition where I was shopping, but I also love the artwork on there. It's really cool. Great edition. So go check this out. That's it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I will see you at the video store or at the thrift store or just out and about somewhere. But until next time, I will see you in the next video, or maybe I'll see you out in the woods at some witchy ceremony. But until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the upcoming videos. Thanks. Bye.